No longer small signs that can be easily ignored. In Texas, everything changes overnight. During the day, the fields remain quiet, but when the sun sets, an invisible force begins to move. By morning, the soil is torn apart, crops crushed as if a storm had passed through. Overlapping tracks appear like a map, showing it's not just one, but an entire organized herd at work. From above, everything becomes clearer. A helicopter flies low, sweeping across forests in vast Texas farmland. From this angle, the invisible roads used by wild boars each night begin to reveal themselves. Movement paths repeated with near precision, connecting deep forests to the heart of cultivated land. They do not move randomly. They learn, and with each passing night, they grow bolder. That is when the plan is deployed. Not a rushed reaction, but a carefully calculated strategy, step by step. Traps are not placed randomly. They are positioned along the exact routes identified from the air. Bait is layered carefully, guiding the herd deeper without triggering alarm. The goal is not to catch a few, but to control the entire herd in a single operation. On the first night, the first trap is triggered. A small group is contained at the edge of the field. As the team approaches, a difference becomes immediately clear. Variations in fur patterns show that multiple groups have merged into a larger herd. This is a dangerous sign. When smaller groups combine, the level of destruction increases exponentially. And without timely action, this area will become a permanent food source.
Hey!
But not every animal reacts the same. Some panic, charging straight into the steel frame as if trying to break through. Others stay quiet, using their snouts to test each bar, searching for weaknesses. This is not just instinct, it is adaptation. And that is what makes controlling wild boars more difficult than almost any other species that...
Bear. Lost one. Bear's after it. There she goes.
AKT another location. A smaller trap is also active. It does not need to be large, only correctly placed. The confined space prevents the herd from coordinating as they would in the open. This is the key point, not the strength of the trap, but how it aligns with herd behavior. A small miscalculation, and the entire system can fail out on its... second night, pressure begins to rise. From the helicopter, the control team monitors every subtle movement. A large individual appears, slower, more cautious. It does not rush in. It circles, pauses, checks every detail. This is likely the leader, and if it detects danger, the entire herd could disappear within seconds. But this time, the bait works perfectly. It steps inside, and in an instant, the gate slams shut. The metallic sound echoes like the final mark on a long chain of destruction. However, not everything goes perfectly. At another trap, a few animals hesitate before entering. Just 1 second of doubt, and they turn back, rushing into the forest. This is reality. No system reaches 100%, but perfection was never the goal. The objective is to break the herd structure, reduce their coordination and destructive impact. The next morning, the work continues. The traps are secured, each animal handled under strict procedures and transported away from the farming area. No rush, no emotional reaction. Everything is controlled, following regulations. This is not hunting. This is management. It is how people protect what they have built after months of labor. This is not a loud battle. It is a silent confrontation between instinct and strategy, between chaos and control. And in that confrontation, victory is not measured by how many are captured, but by whether they ever return again.
The battle against wild boars is quietly unfolding across the vast fields of Texas. These wild boar herds don't just destroy crops, they also cause tens of thousands of dollars in damage to farmers. This issue isn't something that happens overnight. It's a silent, escalating attack that grows every night, leaving farmers helpless. This increase in boar activity threatens not only the community but also their agriculture. Wild boars are not always easy to spot. At first, they leave only scattered footprints in remote fields, which are not always noticeable. But when these tracks start appearing every morning and evening, it's no longer a coincidence. The boars have claimed this territory. They don't just destroy the land, they also threaten the lives of the people living here. Without a strong solution, farmers would never be able to protect their crops. A new trapping system was developed to address this problem. The Boar Buster system, after several days of field surveys, was installed with high precision. Every trap location, activation time, and entry point was meticulously planned. However, the wild boars weren't easily fooled. They cautiously tested the area, waiting for the right moment. When the trap system was activated for the first time, things didn't go as expected. Despite the experts' careful calculations, a delay in the trap's response gave the boar herd an opportunity to escape. The death of any member of the herd could trigger a chain reaction, making the others more cautious. Every second counts when dealing with wild animals. After the first failure, the experts didn't give up. They quickly realized the problem was the delay in the activation mechanism and the imperfect entry angle. The entire system was adjusted to react faster and more accurately. The closer they got to the target, the more patient and detailed the adjustments had to be. Rushing things wasn't always the best option. A small misstep could result in failure. The following night, the trap system was redeployed. This time, everything went perfectly. The boar herd didn't notice the danger in time. Every move went smoothly, and the activation mechanism quickly contained the entire herd in the trap. The safety of the crops and the community was secured. This wasn't just a small victory, but the first step toward fully controlling the wild boar problem. Setting the trap isn't just about technical knowledge, it's also an art of understanding wild animals. The net trap was used to contain the entire herd without causing panic. Once all the boars had entered, the trap was lowered without making a sound or causing any disturbance. This calm strategy ensured the herd didn't recognize the danger until they were fully contained. Wild boar traps don't only help protect crops, but also serve as a safeguard for people's lives. When threatened, wild boars can become extremely dangerous. With strong defensive instincts, they'll attack anything in their path. Controlling the herd doesn't just protect the land, but also reduces the risk of harm to humans. Once the wild boars are caught, they are moved to designated areas for processing. This process is carried out very carefully to ensure the safety of both the animals and those involved. The boars may be taken to facilities where they are handled according to legal regulations or relocated to other areas to be released back into their natural habitat. The battle against wild boars isn't won in one go. It's a long and continuous process of control, aimed at maintaining the balance between humans and nature. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to leave your thoughts and share this video so more people can understand how to protect the community and nature.
If this herd can survive tonight, what is preserved is not just a few rows of trees or a patch of farmland. It is an entire year of labor, days under the sun and wind, hours of constant care, all of which can vanish overnight if wild boars sweep through. In many rural areas across the United States, this scenario is no longer unfamiliar. It repeats itself again and again, silently yet devastatingly, as dozens of hectares of land are torn apart before the sun even rises. With wild boars, everything happens faster than human response capacity. They leave little time for thinking or preparation. Once a target is chosen, they move according to their own plan, quietly and with precision. Statistics show that even a group of 15 to 20 individuals is enough to destroy more than 1 hectare of crops within a few nighttime hours. And what is even more concerning than their destructive power is the way they learn. If not addressed early, the damage will quickly spiral out of control. Recovery costs are always far higher than initial prevention costs. And the longer it continues, the more cautious the herd becomes. Sound devices and simple deterrents may work at first, but over time, they gradually lose effectiveness. Wild boars learn very quickly. They adapt, remember, and adjust their behavior after only a few encounters. Instead of betting everything on a large-scale solution from the beginning, the first strategic step is surprisingly simple: set up a small trap for observation. This is not the stage for catching as many as possible, but for understanding the herd's behavior. Which one leads? Which one is the most alert? How long does it take for the entire group to enter the baited area? These seemingly minor details ultimately determine the outcome. Just one small mistake can cause the opportunity to disappear completely. If the herd detects any unusual sign, they may not return for days, even weeks. In wildlife control, understanding behavior is always more important than acting hastily. Patience in the early stage is an investment in long-term effectiveness. Once the herd's movement patterns and reactions become clear, the strategy begins to shift. The setup cannot remain unchanged for too long, as that would make the trap detectable. The trap height is adjusted, and the activation timing is recalculated with greater precision. When the herd's reaction time is reduced to a minimum, the chance of escape becomes almost non-existent. A drop trap does not need to be complex. What matters is timing. When triggered at the right moment, the entire herd has almost no time to scatter. Their herd instinct, the very trait that helps them survive, becomes their weakness. They move together, react together, and when captured, they are captured all at once. As a result, the damage is stopped at the source before it can spread. After successful captures, the trapping system continues to be refined. The mechanism becomes smoother, the structure stronger, yet without unnecessary complexity. Costs may increase, but every adjustment is based on real data collected in the field. Bait placement is optimized. Activation timing is fine-tuned. The goal is not the biggest trap, but the most suitable one for the specific conditions of each area. Ultimately, effectiveness does not come from scale, but from understanding. Understanding how the herd moves. Understanding how they react. And most importantly, understanding when to act. When these elements come together, control is gradually regained. If you have ever faced a similar situation, you will understand that this is not just a battle against an animal. It is a battle of patience, observation, and making the right decision at the right time. Block the right path, act at the critical moment, and above all, always comply with local regulations and work with experienced professionals to ensure safety for both people and the surrounding environment.
As the on-site coordinator of a rapid response team, he had handled numerous emergency situations. But what had just unfolded in this suburban area still left a heavy feeling.
Golly!
Steel structures trembled violently, and the ground seemed to pulse under the weight of tons of muscle. It all began when cornfields were flattened after just a few nights, forcing the wild boar herd to abandon their familiar feeding grounds and spill into residential areas. At around 8 a.m., an urgent video was sent to the control center. In the middle of a busy street, a wild boar suddenly burst out from a blind corner and launched a direct attack on a pedestrian. Its speed was so fast that there was almost no time to react. Once the situation was brought under control, the team immediately assessed the cause. Food sources on the barren hills had been depleted, forcing the herd to push deeper into human-inhabited areas. The situation was deemed critical. Roads were immediately cordoned off, and a large-scale control operation was deployed in the border zone. Before setting traps, the technical team conducted hours of field surveys. Fresh tracks pressed into soft mud, torn strips of tree bark, and deep trenches dug along the forest edge all pointed to the presence of a large herd. Once movement patterns were identified, a reinforced steel hexagonal drop trap was deployed as a reconnaissance tool. With its moderate size, it was used to test reactions and estimate the herd scale. As night fell, at 11:24 p.m., infrared cameras recorded 2 individuals entering the central area. Each weighed nearly 40 kilograms. The activation command was issued immediately. The door slammed shut, securing the 2 targets. However, on the monitor, larger shadows still lingered outside, cautious and unwilling to enter. Clearly, acting too early had made the rest of the herd wary. The strategy was quickly adjusted. This time, a high-strength aluminum alloy box trap was deployed, with an enclosed design to reduce suspicion. The target was no longer the entire herd, but individual animals of large size and aggressive behavior, the most direct threats to the residential area. At around 2 a.m., a massive wild boar appeared, weighing an estimated 300 kilograms. It moved in slowly, then began feeding on fermented corn bait. The trap was triggered. Trapped inside, the animal slammed against the metal walls, producing violent crashes in the night. But the decisive solution lay in the next step. A large-scale circular trap system was erected at the transition zone between the hills and the town. The steel frame, over 2 meters tall and nearly 10 meters in diameter, was suspended above the ground by a cable system. The open design lowered the herd's guard. Fermented grain was spread in a wide circle below. That night, the massive trap proved effective. Around 10 individuals rushed in, pushing and competing for food. Once the entire herd was within range, the system was activated remotely. The steel frame dropped, sealing the space inside. Chaos erupted, but the noise was quickly contained within the enclosed structure. The next morning, just as things seemed to settle down, another emergency call came in. Cameras detected another large group entering a smaller trap. Despite its limited size, the results exceeded expectations. The activation command was issued immediately. With no escape, the entire herd panicked and attempted to break free, but in vain. The steel system had blocked every possible route. The rapid response team quickly approached the site using specialized vehicles. A pickup truck was positioned close to the trap gate. Using long poles, each animal was guided into the transport compartment in a controlled manner, minimizing panic. In cases where individuals were too aggressive and posed danger, on-site safety intervention measures were immediately applied.
Get in.
When the last animal was removed, the tense atmosphere gradually eased. This was not just a routine control operation, but a test of patience, observation, and real-time tactical adaptation. From reading ground signs to understanding how the herd reacted to each type of trap, every detail played a decisive role. Only by truly understanding their behavior could humans regain control of the situation and restore peace to the community. In Bavaria, where dense forests intertwine with agricultural land, the presence of wild boars is no longer a rare occurrence. Their numbers continue to grow, spilling into fields and turning the soil into chaotic, torn-up patches. More concerning is that even during the day, some individuals are now pushing deeper into residential areas, crossing roads, appearing near homes and gardens. Encounters are no longer unusual, and in some cases, people have been attacked when getting too close. The situation has escalated rapidly, forcing authorities to launch a large-scale control operation. Reconnaissance efforts are carried out continuously, combining helicopters and unmanned aerial devices to pinpoint exactly where the herds are hiding and the routes they follow. The data quickly reveals a clear pattern. They do not move randomly but repeat familiar paths night after night. Based on this information, control teams begin planning trap installations at key points. Every detail is carefully calculated, because even a small mistake could cause the entire herd to disappear and become more cautious. Once the location is confirmed, the trap setup process officially begins. Heavy-duty steel mesh panels are transported into the selected area and assembled into a closed circular structure based on prior survey data. Steel posts are driven deep into the damp forest ground and tightened with high-tension straps to ensure absolute stability. The sound of metal echoes, breaking the stillness of the Bavarian forest. From the outside, the structure appears simple, just a circular fence. But in reality, it is a large-scale trap, designed to close at the precise decisive moment. Once the frame is complete, the control team moves into the final preparation stage. Infrared cameras are installed around the perimeter, mounted high on tree trunks to monitor the entire approach to the trap. Every action is carried out quickly and with strict control to minimize human traces, avoiding any disruption to the herd's natural behavior. Then, bait is placed. Corn and sugar beets, common food sources for wild boars in Europe, are scattered to form a trail leading inward. The largest portion is placed at the center, acting as the main attractant, gradually drawing the herd deeper inside without them realizing the boundary around them.
Who's automatically?
Drop trap.
When everything is ready, the area returns to silence. No signs of human activity remain, only the faint scent of food drifting through the cold air. Somewhere in the forest, sensitive noses have already picked up the signal. As night falls, the silence grows heavier. Then, the first movements appear on the monitoring screens. The herd has returned. The lead boar steps forward, pauses, sniffs, and scans the surroundings. Behind it, the rest of the group waits in the darkness. Naturally cautious, they are slowly pulled closer by the scent of food. Guided by the leader, one by one they begin to enter, without hesitation, without suspicion. When the entire herd is fully inside the trap's range, the decisive moment arrives. The trap gate is triggered. A sudden metallic sound shatters the forest stillness. Instantly, the entire herd erupts into panic. They rush in all directions, slamming into the fence, trampling over one another in an attempt to escape. The ground is churned up under the weight of dozens of bodies. The largest individuals throw their full force against the steel structure, but the flexible mesh system absorbs the impact without breaking. Smaller ones try to leap over, but the height and enclosure stop every attempt. Chaos spreads as they realize there is no way out. When the control team returns, the scene has changed. The herd is no longer violently struggling. Many are exhausted after hours of trying to escape, while others stand still in a state of high alert. With more than 20 animals contained in a single capture, the farmer can finally breathe a sigh of relief. This is not just the result of one night's effort, but proof of a precise strategy, built on a deep understanding of the species' behavior. And this time, the cycle of destruction has truly been broken.
Come on. There we go. Oh. Stuff in a mess, isn't it?
For many years working alongside my father in wild boar control, I came to understand one key principle. When they begin appearing on roads, it is no longer just a farm issue. In places like Texas, herds follow familiar routes, so the risk extends beyond crops to traffic as well. A boar weighing hundreds of kilos rushing out at night can cause a serious accident, making control something that must be handled in a structured way. The next morning, I went with my father to meet farmers and the control team. A map was quickly laid out, marking areas of torn soil, repeated trails, and crossing points where herds frequently passed. No one said much, because everyone understood these signs were critical data. They revealed not only location, but also movement patterns that in wide regions like Texas. Some teams use helicopters to observe from above. From that view, movement paths become clearer, disturbed soil lines and trails cutting across fields. The helicopter is not used for capture, but it helps determine exactly where traps should be placed, avoiding mistakes in setup. The operation was divided into two directions. I went with my father to place blocking traps along narrow paths, routes the herd must take to reach residential areas. Meanwhile, another team set up a large corral trap at a central point. If blocking traps guide movement, the corral is where the circle closes, aiming to control the entire herd at once.
Has its own battery pack.
Bait was placed in layers from the outside inward, creating a natural approach. On the first night, the boar stayed outside and observed. On the second night, a few stepped in. Over the following nights, the whole herd gradually became familiar with the area. There was no rush, because acting at the wrong moment could cause them not to return. Once the herd was moving comfortably inside, the most critical moment began. The gate dropped in an instant, and the space inside immediately turned chaotic. Large bodies pressed together, repeatedly hitting the steel frame in search of a way out. The heavy, continuous sound created a clear sense of pressure, even for those watching from outside, that I... In that moment, my father did not focus on the chaos. He focused on structure. He checked load points and joints to make sure everything held steady. If any part failed, all previous planning would become meaningless. This was not the moment to act, but to verify the plan. But the trap held firm. No animal escaped, and no pressure spread outward. At the same time, the outer traps blocked any individuals that tried to break away. The entire team stayed in position, following the plan exactly. That coordination allowed the whole system to function as a closed loop.
You did it. They're not as small as... Ooh.
Yep. Come on. Get the bus. Yep. Get the bus. Hello. Yep. Let's go ahead and shut it.
That a week later, the results became clear. No more herds crossing roads anymore, and no new tracks near residential areas. Cameras showed growing calm, and people began sleeping better. Roads that once felt dangerous became safer. Not because the problem disappeared, but because it was properly controlled at INT.
Yeah. Good job. There we go. Yep.
Texas, and many other states, wild boars cause billions of dollars in damage every year. They do not just eat, they destroy soil, roots, and irrigation systems within hours. That is why modern traps are not meant to eliminate them completely, but to control behavior and reduce conflict. If you found this useful, leave a comment and don't forget to follow for more real-world situations.
For many years of participating in wild boar control operations, seasoned individuals have consistently emphasized a core principle. When wild boars begin appearing on public roads, the issue has already extended beyond the scope of a single farm. A fully grown individual can weigh hundreds of kilograms. If it suddenly charges onto the road in the dark, it is fully capable of causing serious collisions. In states such as Texas or Florida, such situations occur frequently, and the consequences often unfold faster than humans can respond. Early in the morning, groups of farmers, together with control teams, were already in place. A large map was spread out, and high-risk areas were quickly identified. Sections of land that had been uprooted, areas where livestock frequently appeared, as well as crossing points where herds typically moved across roads were all carefully marked. This was not a spontaneous reaction, but a plan built on real-world observation and data accumulated over time. At the central location, a large-scale corral trap system was constructed. This was the key element of the entire strategy, to contain the entire herd in a single operation. The setup process was deliberate and calculated. Bait was arranged in layers, guiding from the outside inward, forming a natural path that led the herd deeper into the trap zone. The objective was not to attract them immediately, but to create a sense of familiarity. During the first nights, cameras only captured them standing outside, probing and observing. By the second night, a few smaller individuals began to step inside. Then, over successive nights, their alertness gradually faded, and the entire herd moved deeper toward the center. Persistence began to yield results. Once the herd had developed a habit of approaching the trap area, the moment for action was determined. The gate was triggered and shut in an instant. Inside, chaos erupted immediately. The herd compressed together, circling and constantly shifting direction within the confined space. Heavy impacts against the steel frame produced deep, muffled sounds, not overly piercing, but heavy enough to create a palpable sense of tension for anyone standing nearby. Even so, experienced individuals were not drawn into that chaos. They did not focus on the movement of the herd, but instead observed the structure of the trap itself, every joint, every load-bearing bar, every point that might be subjected to intense pressure. Because this was the most critical phase. A single minor flaw in design or installation could cause the entire plan to collapse within seconds. Inside the trap, the herd continued to move relentlessly, searching for any possible escape. Yet the structure of the trap remained intact. No weak points were broken, no gaps emerged. All pressure was contained within controlled limits. And that was the defining factor, not strength, but the ability to control the situation. In surrounding areas, secondary traps also began to take effect. Individuals that broke away or deviated from the group were intercepted. The entire team held their positions, performing exactly the roles assigned in advance. There were no sudden changes, no actions outside the plan. Everything operated like a carefully calculated system. after just 1 week, the effectiveness became clearly visible. No new tracks appeared near residential areas. No more herds crossed the roads at night. Cameras recorded a distinct change. The area grew quieter, and daily life gradually returned to normal. Roads that once posed hidden dangers had now become safer, at least for the time being. A well-conceived plan, executed with patience and precision, will always deliver more sustainable results than any rushed reaction. This is not merely a story about wildlife control, but about how humans re-establish boundaries between residential areas and nature, between stability and chaos. And from such operations, a principle gradually becomes clear. When the movement of these animals can be controlled, everything around them can be protected.
What would happen if radioactive wild boar herds suddenly flooded into farms? And if you had to face hundreds of thousands of them, what would you do to keep your crops safe? This is no longer a hypothetical scenario, but a reality that has forced farmers around the world to find solutions. The root of the problem traces back to the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in 2011 in Japan, when a large amount of radiation was released into the environment, spreading across land and surrounding ocean areas. In that context, wild boars quickly became one of the most concerning species. They frequently forage in coastal areas, regions highly vulnerable to radiation, and gradually carry potential risks as they move closer to residential zones. Although exact figures remain unclear, many estimates suggest that millions of wild animals worldwide are exposed to radiation, mainly concentrated in Europe, Asia, and North America, regions that provide suitable habitats for this species. In some residential areas, the presence of wild boars has led to increasingly complex situations. Under growing pressure, authorities have been forced to organize control operations to limit dangerous individuals within the area. Specialized equipment is deployed to ensure both effectiveness and community safety. At the same time, the entire capture process is carried out under strict supervision to minimize negative impacts on the animals. Flexibility in approach and the ability to respond quickly have helped gradually bring the situation under control. Beyond protecting people, these measures also contribute to maintaining ecological balance. In particular, building fences is no longer just a temporary solution, but has become a long-term strategy. Residents in frequently affected areas clearly understand the level of damage to crops and orchards, so they are willing to invest significant resources to create stable protection for their livelihoods. To address the issue of radioactive wild boars, farmers have begun applying scientific methods to control the rapidly growing population. They carefully study the behavior and biology of the species, then develop suitable trapping systems. Traps are placed in forests where wild boars frequently appear, as well as in areas near farms, locations they tend to revisit repeatedly. These cage traps are designed discreetly to improve capture efficiency while ensuring safety. Bait is placed inside to lure the animals, and once a boar enters, an automatic mechanism triggers the door to close. This method is especially effective at night, when wild boars are most active, and helps prevent them from learning to avoid traps. To support the process, farmers also use specialized tools to handle them safely. In addition to cage traps, simpler methods are also used, such as sound-triggered traps, a low-cost solution that still delivers notable results. Some traps utilize large trees as anchor points, combined with bait and natural leaf camouflage to increase capture success. These approaches not only reduce costs, but also demonstrate adaptability to real-world conditions while minimizing the risk of affecting other species. Regardless of the method used, the most important factor remains careful consideration of environmental and ethical impacts. Wild boar control must be carried out safely, avoiding negative effects on ecosystems and preventing unintended consequences. Do you have a better solution? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos. In just a single night, the entire field was torn apart, damage estimated to exceed $50,000. By the time daylight had fully settled, all that remained was churned up soil and rows of crops completely destroyed. Months of hard work had nearly vanished without a trace. With no time left to hesitate, the farmer was forced to deploy a solution never attempted before. But the question remained, could they stop the entire herd in one attempt, or would the destruction continue in the days ahead? The entire process was documented, beginning with the construction of a massive circular trap measuring up to 30 feet in diameter, a design aimed not at individual animals, but at capturing the entire herd at once. The objective was clear: at least 30 wild boars in a single operation. Because if even a few were left behind, the survivors would quickly adapt, become more cautious, and nearly impossible to trap again using the same methods. For a 500-acre farm under constant pressure, this was no longer an experimental option. It was a necessary step to regain control. For that reason, in areas with high wild boar density, a large-scale steel trap system was chosen. The circular structure, built from 4-gauge steel, stood like a reinforced enclosure. Its design eliminated sharp corners, creating an open and natural space that allowed the herd to enter without suspicion. The steel gate, 8 feet wide and weighing around 150 pounds, was connected via LTE and could be operated remotely by phone. The entire system was anchored with steel posts driven nearly 90 centimeters into the ground, strong enough to withstand the powerful force of adult boars. Each day, approximately 90 kilograms of corn were spread evenly to maintain their return pattern. During the first 3 to 5 nights, the gate remained open so the herd could become familiar with the environment without sensing any threat. Only when infrared cameras confirmed that the entire herd had moved deep inside did the operator activate the closing mechanism from distances of up to 6 kilometers. In the instant the gate dropped, every escape route was completely sealed. There was no turning back, no way out. The final result demonstrated the effectiveness of the entire system. "32 wild boars were captured in a single event, with a total estimated weight exceeding 2,500 pounds. This was not only an immediate reduction in damage, but also a way to prevent future re-entry from the same herd. Beyond crop destruction, wild boars also carry dangerous diseases such as African swine fever, ASF, porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome, and other respiratory illnesses that can spread rapidly. When they enter livestock areas, they can transmit these diseases to domestic animals, causing serious consequences for entire farming systems. In addition, bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli can spread through the environment, increasing biosecurity risks. This makes controlling wild boars not just about protecting crops, but also a critical part of disease prevention strategies. When pushed into a controlled situation, wild boars can become extremely dangerous. Adult males, especially during breeding season, are capable of aggressive reactions to any intrusion. This creates significant risks for farmers and others working in affected areas. That is why controlling them in populated regions has become essential to protect both people and property. As the trapping day came to an end, the field gradually returned to silence. They carried the results of the entire operation back with them, leaving behind land that had just been reclaimed. And in that moment, they knew the season still had a chance to be saved.